Hey everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at a couple of roller bags from Level 8. I've been using their Roadrunner carry-on for the past year or so whenever I've been doing more of a two-bag style setup. In general, I still prefer traveling with one bag whenever possible, but there's been a lot of occasions where it's been really helpful to have a dedicated roller bag and then a really capable day bag. I still focus on carry-on only, so the bags that I've been using have still been something that I haven't had to check. That's still critical for me. But there's a lot of different styles, even just in the carry-on roller bag space. And so I was excited to have a chance to check out a couple of other styles within Level 8's lineup. We have an aluminum version here, and then we have a version that has the wider style handle, which I was always curious to try out to see why they would make a suitcase with a wider handle. So that's one of the things we're going to talk about in this video, along with what it's been like to test these over the past couple of weeks. I'll show you how I've loaded them out, talk through some of the differences between these two, and I'll also talk about how they compare to some of the other similar travel bags that are currently on the market. Before jumping into the video, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Danny, and on this channel we love reviewing popular travel and everyday carry gear. If you like these types of videos and you'd be interested in seeing more, please consider subscribing, as it helps the channel out a lot. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Taking a look at the Gibraltar aluminum carry-on, right off the bat, this just looks and feels really premium. A lot of carry-on suitcases tend to look fairly similar in my opinion, but this one really stands out. It just has a very modern appearance. This is definitely the type of carry-on bag that I would want to use if I was traveling for business, if I wanted to look a little bit nicer. It's just got a very classy vibe. In my opinion, you just have the Level 8 logo on the front and then the really sleek aluminum exterior. You have some rivets and reinforced corners that look great. The handles on this feel better than many of the handles that I've used on other suitcases. So they have these hinges that allow them to come up. You can get a very easy grip. They feel super sturdy. When you release them, they also come down very softly. So you can see they don't make any noise when you release it. So it's really little thoughtful details like that that just give it that next level sort of vibe for me, that gives it that premium appearance. And then beyond that, you have the really reliable and smooth working wheels. These work in all directions. I haven't had any issues whether I'm pulling it, rolling it in front of me. I'm able to rotate it very easily. I'm always a big fan of this style of wheel. Particularly, I like that they don't stick out too much from the bottom, which is one of the issues you run into with some carry-on suitcases, is that the wheels end up taking up a lot of the height that you have allotted, which can make them hard to fit into a smaller overhead storage area. This is the 20-liter carry-on, so it's pretty spacious. It should still be compliant on a variety of different airlines, and the wheels and the height of the wheels helps a lot with that. Then you have the really great telescoping handle. I've had good experiences with Level 8's handles in general. You have a couple of different levels that you can adjust this to. It works very smoothly. It locks into place. So, nothing crazy there, but it works just as intended. And as far as the capacity for this, it comes in at about 36 liters. So it's similar to some of the one bag travel options that I would typically use. Because this is, of course, a suitcase with a really simple layout, it feels like it can handle more stuff. I'm just able to organize it to hold a lot of things, as we'll take a look at in a bit. But the sizing is very much in line with what I would expect for a carry-on suitcase. One thing that is a little bit of an issue with this aluminum version is the weight. This comes in at around 10 pounds, which is heavier than other similarly sized carry-ons that I've used. So that's one of the trade-offs that you get for this premium exterior material, and just the durability that you get from this type of suitcase is with that added weight. So if you're traveling somewhere where the airline is going to have stricter weight limits, then that's something that you'll have to keep in mind as you're loading everything out. And also, I'll be curious to see the longevity of this exterior as far as just how it gets scratched up, how it handles being tossed in and out of overhead storage areas. So far, my initial experiences felt great. I haven't seen a lot of scuffs or anything like that, but generally that's something that I come to expect with these luggages, because I'm not gentle on them. I'm using them quite a bit. And so, looking forward to see, how this one does, but so far, great overall. And then Unlike some of the other modern suitcases that I've talked about in the past, this one doesn't have any additional external organization, no dedicated laptop compartment, so you really just have the main areas, which we'll take a look at now. I thought that it was interesting that this suitcase has this sort of buckle system versus the zipper that goes all the way around, like many of the other suitcases that I've used. I think this works really well. It has, combination locks on each of the buckles. These are TSA compliant. And right now I don't have any sort of combination set, 000, just for the purposes of the video, but it's really nice how smoothly these buckles work. You just push and it releases immediately. To close it, it also latches down very securely. Haven't run into any issues. And this is an interesting alternative to the zipper. I've had for so many years the struggle of pushing the bag down and bringing the zipper all the way around. This is a little bit simpler. So far, from a durability standpoint, it feels like it's gonna be, pretty good in general. I'll keep an eye on that as well as I use this over more trips. And then opening the suitcase up, it opens flat. You have the two large areas of the suitcase that give you a lot of flexibility with how you can organize everything. I like that they have these dividers that kind of help keep everything in place when you're opening the suitcase up. So no zippered dividers as some of Level 8 suitcases have, but I think this works well. I like that it has this mesh so I could see what's on the inside. It's fairly flexible, and these are also removable if you prefer not to use them. I'm not sure why you wouldn't want to, because I could see everything spilling out if you open it in a particular direction. So that's something that I will definitely continue to use, but it's nice that you have the ability to remove them if you prefer. And one thing I forgot to call out before continuing on with the main area is that you do actually have these kind of legs here on the bottom where you're placing it down. So if you place it on the floor, if you're reorganizing, or if you're unpacking, that will help elevate the suitcase so that you're not actually placing it down on the aluminum itself. So really nice, thoughtful detail there. And then going to each of these sides, you have these clips that easily slide on and off. They have a little bit of elastic and then a loop that just attaches here to help keep everything in place. And I like how easy these are to release and just the flexibility offered. And then big open space here, which will work very well with a modular setup. Here I have some of the items that I would typically carry with me. I have my extra pair of shoes. Even with all of these things in there, I do have space for an additional pair of shoes, which is something that I might not take if I was just carrying a backpack. This will allow me to carry just a little bit more. That's one of the reasons why I like taking a suitcase in addition to traveling with just one bag. So that's an added benefit there. But so I could take 1, 2 pairs of shoes, then I have my dop kit, a packable jacket, a GoRuck shadow pocket, just to kind of showcase the space more than anything. And then beyond that, nothing else in this compartment. Like many of the roller bags that have the telescoping handle, you have that coming into this main area, so you kind of have to pack around it, which is one of the biggest differences with the wide handle suitcase. That's a benefit of that style, is that you won't have these bars here. So we'll take a closer look at that in a little bit. And then moving into the other side, same sort of system here. You do have a zippered mesh compartment. I really don't tend to use these very much. At the moment, I just have the luggage tag that's actually included with the suitcase. And then, same system here with the clips, and then a nice big open space. And here I have my typical packing cube setup. So I have the smaller Peak Design compressible packing cube at the top, and then I have the medium compressible packing cube below that. And this compartment is just a really nice big open space. You don't have the same issue with the handle kind of coming in. And Level 8 actually includes a set of packing cubes with this suitcase. That's one of the things that you get, being that this is a little bit more expensive. It's nice that they include the luggage tag and then the packing cube set. I believe it's 4 cubes that are included with the set. Nothing too crazy with these. They're a pretty standard set of packing cubes. One of the things that I really like is that they have these Velcro kind of ranger eyes that you can customize to help you remember what's in each one of the packing cubes. So, you know, it kind of works really well with the layout that they have for the suitcase. I'm always happy when companies have their ecosystems and have really been able to think through how everything works together. So great that they have those packing cubes included if you prefer to use it, or if you have your own kind of system that you're comfortable with, the suitcase will adapt well to that. And so, yeah, just a really nice kind of premium version of this suitcase that I'm used to traveling with. And if you're interested in something that's going to look modern, feel really high quality, and have a little bit more of that kind of aluminum styling, then this is going to be a really cool option to take a look at. The Voyageur carry-on in many ways reminds me of the other hard shell rollers that I've tested out over the past year, including the Roadrunner from Level8. So, you know, it's got a pretty modern look. It looks nice. Nothing crazy going on the exterior. There's no additional pocketing, so it's simpler than some of the bags that do have that external laptop and tech area. I don't generally use that too much, so it didn't bother me at all. I actually prefer the cleaner look and leaving the majority of the space for the main compartments. And so here you still have the Level8 logo, and this has a polycarbonate material used for the outer shell versus the aluminum of the Gibraltar, which, you know, is very much in line with kind of the quality and the weight that I've experienced with some of the other bags in this category. These hard shell rollers in general are going to be heavier than your typical backpack, but this is a little bit more manageable than the aluminum carry-on. So I think it strikes a good balance of giving you the space and flexibility of the roller bags without adding too much on the weight. The wheels are pretty much the same, you know, that we saw with the other carry-on bags, so they work smoothly across a variety of surfaces. And with all of Level8's bags that I've tried out, they've just worked very consistently. These are also a little bit recessed into the suitcase, so they don't stick out a lot. They don't add to the height, which is the most important thing to me. This comes in a couple of different colors. I have kind of the navy color here. And then on the outside, you have, you know, your kind of standard suitcase handles, a little bit different from the aluminum one. This one doesn't have the nice hinges, so they're a little simpler, but they're easy to grab when you need to. And then they just kind of collapse against the sides of the bag when they're not in use. And beyond that, this one has these sort of legs here at the bottom. So when you're opening the suitcase up, you're not placing it directly on the side. One thing I really liked about this suitcase is it actually has it on the back side as well. So if I'm laying it flat, I still have the suitcase elevated from the surface, which is going to help just add a little bit more protection in my opinion. So really nice touch there. And then this one, because of the layout and the fact that it has this wider handle, which is, you know, the really big distinguishing factor, I was very excited about this because I hadn't used one of these suitcases before. That contributes to a larger overall capacity. This is going to come in at around 43 liters without feeling much bigger than the other carry-ons that typically come in at 38 to 40 liters. The aluminum one was 36. So it's a little bit bigger, but the fact that it has some changes to the layout because of that handle also helps. So we'll take a closer look at that in the main area. And then speaking of the handle, these wide handle suitcases seem to be becoming more popular. It does make it very easy to kind of grab this. You have a lot of different ways, a lot of space. I think it also just looks really interesting. And one thing about these handles that I was a little bit worried about is that if I'm traveling with an additional daily bag, it is a little more challenging because this won't work with the majority of the luggage pass-throughs that I have in my bag. So, you know, I've had to get a little bit creative with how I pair this with a backpack. But for some people, that might not be as big of an issue. I know there's third-party straps. If you're traveling with a purse or something like that, or a duffel bag, it might not be as big of a concern, and it might be worth the trade-off for having, you know, the additional kind of balance that's offered here. Beyond that, the levels are pretty much the same. It telescopes very smoothly, it locks into place. So, you know, really nice implementation there, and just a good alternative to the traditional handles. And then as far as the zipper, you have, you know, kind of your standard combination lock here. This one is at the top. I like sometimes when the suitcases have it on the side, so if you happen to get caught in some rain, it just feels like it's a little bit more protected. But regardless, it's nice to have this built in so I don't have to worry about an additional lock when I'm traveling. And then opening the suitcase up, this has the zipper that goes all the way around like your traditional clamshell style suitcases. And then, you know, you have the two dedicated compartments for all of your stuff. before diving into those, you do have some internal organization here. So one kind of standard mesh pocket might be good for some smaller, slimmer items, cables, a laundry bag. One of the cool things about this suitcase is that you have this wet and dry compartment. So it's got this material that feels like it's going to contain liquids well. So if you have your toiletries and you want to place them in here, prevent any accidental spills from getting all over your stuff, or maybe if you're traveling with a wet bathing suit on the way home, you could place it there. So haven't really seen this on too many suitcases, but I think it's a really neat feature. And then you have one compartment here. It has the zipper that doesn't have mesh like this other side. And so, you know, I have kind of the same layout. I tried to use similar items to what I had in the other suitcase. So I have that extra pair of shoes, which is one of the benefits of using a roller bag. Then my Toms, dop kit, jacket, an additional shadow pocket, could be a stand-in for a tech pouch or an additional, you know, kind of clothing pouch. And see on the inside here, not a whole lot going on. You do have a zipper on the back that allows you to access the inside of the liner. And then moving on to the other side, you have this zippered mesh divider, which helps compress everything down, keep it in place. And then you have the spacious main area where I currently have my packing cube set up. So my smaller Peak Design packing cube, the larger one, and I still had some leftover space. And here on the back, you can see the biggest difference, and maybe the biggest benefit in my opinion of having this wider suitcase, is the fact that the telescoping bars don't come down the middle of the compartment, which is the case with so many of the kind of traditional suitcases. Is you have these two bars that stick up, and it has these gaps that you then have to pack around. So I typically will squeeze some underwear and socks or my shoes or something into those gaps, but it's a little bit awkward. Here it's completely flat because the bars come down the side. So that's, you know, pretty cool idea. It's a nice alternative to the traditional suitcase, and I feel like it's going to make packing simpler for people, particularly if you use cubes. These bars always just kind of made it a little bit difficult to take full advantage of the space. So like the simplicity here, no compression straps or anything like that, and these will both pair well with Level8's ecosystem of packing cubes. If you don't have your own, or if you do, well, like me, it will work very well with those. So in general, it's been a great experience so far with this wider handle suitcase. You know, definitely curious to try it out on a few more trips. I go back and forth on which one I like better, as far as, you know, the wider or the slimmer handle. Just given the backpacks that I tend to travel, I still like the fact that with the slim handle, I can just rest my bag on it a little bit easier. But you know, definitely some benefits here, especially with the space. So regardless of which one you go with, I know Level8 is going to offer very durable suitcases with wheels that are going to work very reliably and smoothly. And so regardless of which one you're going with, if you're in the market for something durable, reliable, and pretty reasonably priced, and these are going to be some solid options to consider. And so to wrap up, it's been a great experience testing out these two roller bags from Level8. You can currently purchase these on the company's site or on Amazon. The price ranges for rolling bags seems to be pretty wide. I know there's some that get into the high hundreds, even thousands of dollars. There's some that you can get for under $100. I've typically used bags in the $100 to $200 range, and they've held up pretty well. That's where the Roadrunner from Level8 that I've been using, I think, falls in to that range. Here we have a more premium option with the Gibraltar aluminum carry-on. It's going to come in at a little over $400. And then the Voyageur that I have with the wider handle, I think is over $200, around $220, $240, I believe. I'll make sure to list all the prices and the links in the description below if you want to check them out. So feels like they fall pretty much in line with some of the other similar options that are on the market. So if you want, you know, to get something a little bit nicer with the aluminum material and you have a little bit of a higher budget, they have that for you. But if you're looking to save, but you still want something reliable that's going to offer, you know, a lot of usability, it seems like Level8 has got you covered. And like I said, they're going to hold up well against some of the other similar options that are currently on the market. And so as I was testing these out, they definitely reminded me of Level8's Roadrunner carry-on, which is pretty similar to some of the options that we've seen from companies like Aero Trunk and Monos. So they are, you know, kind of modernized with some additional organization for your tech. They have a dedicated compartment on the front with a laptop sleeve. Some of them have, you know, ports for portable batteries, a GPS, but they generally have a similar quality, very reliable wheels, and so that's been my experience with the Roadrunner and the Aero trunk in particular. I typically prefer to have my laptop in my day pack. I don't like to stick it into the suitcase, but if you're still trying to stick to more of a one bag travel setup and you want to have some additional organization for some of those items, then I definitely recommend you check those out. And I also recently did a video where I talk about some of the larger carry-on friendly travel bags that aren't necessarily roller bags. They're still a little bit larger. So these would be items that would be going into an overhead storage compartment, which included bags like the Patagonia MLC, which comes in at around 45 liters, as well as the Salkin 2-bag travel system, which is, is really versatile, flexible, and provides a nice alternative if you still prefer to use a backpack versus actually having to, deal with a roller bag if you're going to Europe, going on stairs, cobblestone streets, all of those things. And I'll probably be doing a more dedicated video where I talk about the different styles of travel, whether it's duffel, backpack, carry-on. So, make sure to keep an eye out for that. Let me know in the comments below what you'd like to know in that video, or anything specifically that you'd like me to cover among the different travel methods. And also, if you've had experience with any other similar roller bags that are on the market, or any other things that you typically look for in these types of bags, definitely looking to hear from you all in the comments. And I want to thank Level8 for sending these suitcases for me to test out, and to you guys for watching and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.